like, should I relax or should I lock in?
Playing middle as a college athlete, I would say, like, the roar of the audience, the best feeling ever.
My faith is everything. It makes me who I am. And I wish that you could talk smack on the golf course. Like, that'd make it so much more fun.
I had some, like, decision paralysis. Should I sleep or should I do the schoolwork?
There's momentum goes both ways, right? So if you start winning a lot, that momentum is positive. If you start losing a lot, get that losing momentum. And we just got to find a way to overcome that.
Let's be great today, Lions.
Welcome to Live Tap Podcast. I'm your host, Damian Trailer, and today I have Danielle Percival tapping in with me. Welcome to the show, Danielle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How's your day been going so far? I know it's a little early. It's only 12 o'clock, but...
It's been good. It's good. Gearing up for another game day here at Piedmont. Feels like it's almost always game day.
You know what game today is?
We have baseball taking on Asbury tonight at 6 o'clock. So kind of a back-heavy day. So didn't come in till now. So day's been going great.
Oh, that's great to hear. Danielle, my first thing to ask you on the pod today is, can you tell me what your job here is at Piedmont and how long you've been working here?
Yeah, so my title is Assistant AD of Communications, Assistant Athletic Director, and I have been here now for 11 years, overseeing the Athletic Communications Department and our game day operations staff.
How you been liking it here at Piedmont so far?
I mean, it's great. I think that says a lot about a place when you've been somewhere for an extended period of time. Being here for 11 years, you see a lot of people come through, but Piedmont also has a lot of people who've been on staff for quite some time. And so I think that says a lot about how people believe in a place and just what it means to work at an institution like that. So it's been great, and it's what's kept me here.
Yeah, so for everybody watching, I'm also a part of the game operations crew, so I just want to say thank you because I absolutely love it here, honestly. And you kind of what got my dream job kickstarted with like broadcasting, like sound reporting and stuff like that. Even this as well, honestly. I don't think
We've got a good crew. We got lots of good ones.
Oh yeah, everybody, man. I love everybody on the crew, man. It's like a family type, you know. So,
For sure.
But my next question for you, Danielle, is can you tell the viewers and I your journey about how you got here?
Yeah, so I graduated from Troy University in 2014 with a degree in broadcast journalism and a minor in sports information. Athletic communications previously was really referred to as sports information, but that minor I don't feel like prepared me as much as a lot of the other aspects of communication. But being able to have a lot of experience in college, I think, was great and instrumental in feeling prepared to take the next step. Coming to Piedmont, the assistant director of athletic communications position had just opened under Timmy McCormack. He was leading the department at the time, and they were really looking for someone with a broadcast background. And so it really kind of was just perfect storm of everything kind of aligning. I came in as the assistant director, didn't know a lot of the athletic communications aspects of the job. Timmy really took me under his wing, helped me to learn the things that I maybe was lacking in. And I mean, the rest is history. Been here for 11 years, worked my way up, took over the department in 2017 when he stepped aside to become the head women's soccer coach. He had been an assistant women's soccer coach to that point, and with the coaching change there, he was able to take over in that spot, and I'd always joked with him that I didn't want his job. I did not want to take over the department, and it was almost one of those like, all right, be careful what you say because, you know, the day may come, and I was very grateful that Coach Peoples, who obviously is the athletic director, was in that position at that time and felt confident in asking me to take over the department because I was pretty young. So while I had said that I didn't want that role, I was very glad that they trusted me to take over, and been here, been able to hire a couple people, good people that have moved through. And of course, Joseph Garwood's been with us for 6-7 years now. And so we've got a good crew.
Yeah, shout out Joseph, man. He definitely did go for sure. With the job you have though, do you struggle with time management?
I mean, no doubt. Like I said, it's hard to find a day that's not a game day, it feels like. And so you really have to prioritize very well, and be able to, frankly, figure out, like, when am I going to do laundry this week? Because, like, when am I not going to be on campus? So it really is just, from a professional setting, prioritizing, okay, these are the things that have to get done today. These are the things that have to get done this week. and being able to just kind of work through that. Joseph and I have a great little task list through Google Drive that we just make a checklist and we just start rolling. And everybody has to like mark off when you have something done, trying to communicate well because you don't want to double up. You don't want to both be working on the same thing and then you find out that you've both wasted 20 minutes because one of you could have been taking care of it.
Right.
So time management is huge from the professional aspect, but then because there's so much time spent here, like, yes, it's a joke, but you also kind of have to figure out where am I going to fit in the rest of my personal life and still prioritize that so that you aren't just living, breathing Piedmont Athletics. I love it. I adore it. It's what I have like poured my heart and soul into for so long, but you have to have some balance there and you have to be able to have a life outside of that in some aspect. So it's figuring out what that looks like for you and making sure that you don't just completely like self-sacrifice when you're in this position.
Yeah, no, Danielle, I know you kind of talked about like, you know, kind of finding time for your personal life. But my next question was actually, what are some difficulties you go through as an assistant athletic director of communications that most people probably don't know that you have to go through?
Well, I think the unique thing at Piedmont, which can be a benefit, is the fact that athletic communications is also game day operations. There's a lot of places where maybe there are some additional support staff who are kind of handling that, but I think it uniquely sets us up to be able to give students fantastic opportunities because I'm sure that you learn through the academic side over here in Mass Comm that you want to be well-rounded. You want to be able to present yourself with a lot of skill sets. And so Piedmont really sets students up to be able to leave having had experience in a ton of different areas because of the fact that we are not just strictly that athletic communications, sports information side of things with handling stories and the website and social. Because we handle the actual game day operations and the event side of things as well, I think that really gives our students unique opportunities, but it can be a challenge because it really is almost a separate role that you're taking on of handling everything from the website, handling everything from social media, while also hiring all of our student workers, getting them trained for those positions, running all of those events. It is a lot to take on, and so I think that kind of is a unique difficulty, but it does create some great opportunities at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree for sure. I mean, especially being under you and working for you about 2 years now. I mean, just not even just me, but seeing like my peers around me who also work under you, like you guys actually set us up to be in great positions, honestly, and I really do appreciate y'all for that. Cause honestly, it's actually a crazy story. I actually want to thank you because the first day I broadcasted the basketball game, I was not ready. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I always wanted to broadcast, but like I just never like had the, I would say probably confidence, you could say, to like just be like, hey Danielle, like I want to broadcast, but I don't know how to, like I don't know what to do. So like when y'all kind of like not threw me in the fire, but like, you just like, hey, like you want to do it, so let's see what you can do.
No, I remember because it was you and Grant.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember who didn't show up or wasn't going to be available, but it was like a last second thing where I was like, all right, I know you guys are interested in this. So like, how about you just go for it? And so it does create some unique opportunities for you guys. Because I mean, as freshmen, I don't think there are a lot of places around the country where you're going to be potentially able to get on a broadcast for an athletic event. I mean, in your first semester, in your second semester, that's a really great opportunity that Piedmont allows students to just kind of jump right in, even if sometimes you're thrown into the fire.
Yeah, like it's even crazy because like some athletes that I've had come on like even ask me like, will I be able to broadcast your game soon? I'll be like, well, I gotta learn your sport first. I don't know all these sports here, but eventually that is the plan. So I'm only a sophomore too, so I got plenty of time.
That's right.
But my next question for you is, growing up, what was your dream job?
So dream job was always ESPN sideline reporter. Mm-hmm. And that was just, the pinnacle, like growing up watching college football Saturdays, growing up in the South, always watching like the SEC, seeing like at the time it was like Aaron Andrews.
Holly Rowe.
Yep, all of them. So ESPN sideline reporter was always the thing. And I did have the opportunity to pursue that. And kind of, I guess, check that box. My first year that I was at Piedmont, I had done a lot of work with the Sun Belt Conference that Troy is in while I was in school there, and they had offered me the opportunity to come to New Orleans to cover Football Media Day for them. So in doing that, I'd worked with the conference front office and built those relationships. And that really is kind of the key to everything. You've got to have the skill set and you've got to show them that you can do the job that you claim you can, but you've also got to have some kind of connection and some kind of relationship, whether that's a personal connection or someone that you know that has the right connections to help you. And they reached out to the Sunbelt Conference, ESPN did, and said, do you have somebody who would be the right person for this spot? And they sent along my name, and I was contacted by a producer, brought in, did a couple of games that fall for the ESPN Sunbelt Conference Game of the Week. And then in the following spring in 2015, had the opportunity to cover the Sunbelt Conference Championship from the basketball side of things, which was awesome as well in New Orleans. Just such a fun atmosphere, so many games per day. I mean, it's chaos really, but it's so much fun. So that was always the dream job, but then things kind of shifted for me. And I think that that's something that's important to note as well. Like, it's okay for your dreams to change. It's okay for you to reach that and go like, well, maybe this isn't everything that I thought it was going to be, but I've found another passion and this is something that I want to pursue. So, yeah, I was able to say that I checked the box and I did the thing that was like always the dream job.
Yeah, because when I did my homework on you, I seen that you like were around ESPN as a reporter, so I kind of wanted to ask you about that. But my next question for you is, who or what got you into wanting to work in the sports media field?
Yeah, so in Alabama growing up, there was a sports talk radio host. They had a really just lunchtime radio show and always used to listen the Max Roundtable, and had the opportunity to reach out to them and just say, hey, this is who I am. I am a senior in high school getting ready to pursue a broadcast journalism degree at Troy. Are there any opportunities to shadow or intern with you? And so I ended up getting the opportunity to join them for about a year, my senior year of high school, and kind of fill in as Danielle the intern, and got to be on the air, got to help out on a case-by-case basis with some remote show opportunities. And so kind of just like getting your foot in the door kind of gets you like a taste of it, like, oh, I like really like this is fun. So being able to work with them, that definitely influenced it. And really just growing up in the South with just such a passion for collegiate athletics, not being involved really in the pro side of things, college sports has just always had my heart. Growing up in Alabama, there's not a pro team around. And so like the closest you got is Atlanta. Obviously, we're a lot closer here. But because of that, collegiate athletics has just always been the thing that I was passionate about and what I wanted to pursue.
Are you a Braves fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not, yes, but I'm not like
diehard.
Ultra passionate, yeah.
Okay, that's understandable. I'm the same way, I'm not going to lie. I just started being a baseball fan maybe like 72 hours ago. So.
Just in time for opening day.
No, facts, for real. What about working here at Piedmont do you love the most, though?
I think the best thing is the relationships because, like you said, the student work family, it really is like a family. Yeah. We laugh, we joke, but we take it seriously. We make sure that we're putting out a good product. We make sure that everything is professional and that we're representing the institution well. But we like to have fun while we're doing it. Like, what's the point in being involved in college athletics if it's not fun? Yeah. So I love the relationships that we get to have. I love getting to impact you guys and give you opportunities to find what you're passionate about, pursue that, and really set you guys up for the next thing that's to come. Like Chloe Spradlin just graduated recently. She's gotten a great job with Atlanta United. She's working down there. And she sent me a text a couple weeks back saying, hey, I just wanted to thank you so much for everything that you did for me, setting me up for this. I feel like I'm capable of getting any job that I want, but I love where I'm at right now. And just was letting me know she was going to be back on campus. So just having people come back in that capacity too, and just being like so excited to see you, it's almost like having your own team. Like, I'm not a coach, but it sort of is similar to that role because you're able to mentor and lead, and then you have those people come back and you get to reap the benefits of it and see how their success has continued. And it just kind of is like, it's not my coaching tree, but it's like my SID tree where like all my people are like going out and succeeding, and it's just it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's actually, I don't know, well, no, you've been here for 11 years, so you probably know him. Brett Loftus. Yep. He actually texted me a couple weeks back after I did the 94 Feet interview with Annalyn and Nene. Yeah. Just, like, you know, just giving me like good advice and stuff like that. So and
That's awesome.
He was even talking about you and saying like how you helped him, you know, to where he's at right now. So I just want to let you know that and say
That's
thank
awesome.
you for that as well.
Love that.
That was amazing. But can you talk to me about the game day operations crew and how Piedmont gives students opportunities to do their future careers very early?
Yeah, so it is what I think is a pretty unique opportunity at Piedmont to be able to get involved so early. I know there are a lot of institutions where maybe there's an application process and you have to have a certain number of credit hours maybe, or be a junior academically before you can really get involved. And even then, there may be some limitations based on the size of the institution, how many people are fighting for those positions. So here, the fact that we're able to just really, like, if you are interested, there's no roadblocks. There's nothing stopping you from getting involved. As long as someone is passionate and reliable, we're going to be able to give them opportunities. I think that the gamut really is pretty wide because you've got people that are interested in broadcasting. You've got people that are maybe former student athletes or former athletes that are able to help from the game day operations, from the like shot clock, scoreboard, because they understand how the game works. But then there are some positions where maybe you don't have to have a great understanding of the game. If you're doing like a stream scoreboard and you're just having to copy what's on the scoreboard, or if you're running a camera, there's ways to get you involved without necessarily having to be an expert within the field. And so I think that one of the best things that we've got right now is we've got some upperclassmen who are able to help train new folks. So like yesterday at baseball, we had the Lions were taking on Oglethorpe, and we had Leandro running scoreboard. Ramsey was up there as well. And so Leandro was kind of showing Ramsey what he was doing. And then in like the third inning, they swapped and he was letting Ramsey do it, but was also training him. And so that to me is like the best of both worlds, because we've got a senior who's able to come in and do the job, but is training a freshman. And so now I don't have to train Ramsey how to do that because someone else, another fellow worker, is doing that. And so not only is that great from our perspective of being able to handle oversight with other things, because I know that's taken care of, but it's a great opportunity for Leandro to kind of take some leadership and some ownership there as well. Right. So really it just kind of can almost run itself, which is fantastic because we've got really quality students that are able to really just take control and take ownership.
Yeah, shout out Leo, man. He's a great guy too. He's a great guy, I'm not gonna lie. What would you say is the most enjoyable sports season for you to work? Was spring or fall?
Yeah, so I think the most enjoyable is probably basketball. And I will say that is because it is the only sport on campus really going on at the same time. We will have a couple of swim meets thrown in there, but we're able to really dedicate a lot of our resources just to that rather than being spread so thin. Yeah. So it's not, and some people probably are like, oh, of course you like basketball, but it really is just a matter of the fact that like we are able to dedicate the right resources to it. In the fall, we're not really all that spread thin because it's just soccer and volleyball really happening on campus. But when we get to the spring, like all bets are off. It's chaotic. It's crazy, especially in the month of February when basketball season is wrapping up but still going on. You're getting everybody started in the spring. People love to come down here and play baseball, softball, lacrosse because we have the right weather for it. We have a turf field for lacrosse. People from the north love to come down and get some games in before their fields are really accessible. So it gets chaotic in the spring and it flies by because you feel like you can't even take a breath. But it's still fun. Even though it's chaos and absolutely just insanity, it is still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually seen you post a couple weeks back. You worked like, what was it, 70-something hours in like a week span or like a couple days?
Yeah, it can get really, really chaotic during the end of basketball season. So we had the opportunity to host the Women's Basketball Championship, which was fantastic. Won it on the home court. What an opportunity. Love that for them. But it is a lot of work to get prepared for that and to do all those extra contests when, you know, we've made our plan. We know what's going on this week. And then all of a sudden, just kidding, we're going to add 2 basketball games on Friday and 1 more on Saturday. But it's... You just got to figure it out. That's the problem is that like nothing's going to not happen. Like all the events are still going to go on whether we're ready or not. So you just kind of got to buckle up and struggle through it. But fortunately, we have a lot of great students.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to everybody that's just like me student-wise. But actually, you already answered my next question. I was gonna ask you like how hectic could like around, especially mid-February, like you were stating, like be for the fall and spring sports kind of colliding here at Piedmont.
Yeah. I mean, really the worst time is February, and by worst, I just mean the most chaotic. But toward the end of the fall, when you're getting into championships, basketball can sometimes bleed over into that, especially with, we do all of our promotional photos where we get the photographers out here and do all the fun shots, and trying to schedule those in while we're we have to try and figure out how to get the commons, but figure out which days teams are available because we're trying to work around practice schedules. And there are kind of some nuances there where it's not just about the games. There's other things that we need or that we offer to our student athletes that require some planning and figuring out schedules and such. But I think that also is kind of the one, like in the spring, that's the most chaotic one to try and figure out because you've got to get your baseball, softball, lacrosses, all of them in, and your tennis, and we've got all of the teams that are trying to get started with competitions, and so or they're starting practices, and so you're really walking a fine line trying to get everybody in during this time frame. But our coaches are great about trying to work with us to make sure that we are able to give every student athlete this opportunity.
All right. Yeah. I'm actually interested now in like a day-to-day for you. So can you give me like a day in the life of assistant athletic director of communications when Piedmont has like multiple home events in one day?
Yeah. So we'll just go back to the women's basketball championship.
Yeah.
So we were also hosting a baseball tournament during that time. And so that was challenging because there were 2 baseball games every day from Friday, Saturday to Sunday. And we had the 2 women's basketball games on Friday, 1 single game on Saturday, and then we had a men's lacrosse game on Sunday. So it was chaotic.
Yeah.
So those days, like that Friday, for instance, we had to get in probably by about 8 o'clock because we're trying to get all of the game prep printed, make sure that the table is set up for basketball. Basketball wasn't happening until 5 o'clock, but we had to make sure that we had that taken care of before we went down to baseball because there really was going to be no time to make sure that that was taken care of after we got going at baseball. So we got everything taken care of inside, then went down and set up everything for baseball. First game was at noon, worked through that. Timmy has been a fantastic resource for us this spring. He has stepped in and done a lot of assistance for us coming in and statting games, working from a game management side, whatever we need. And so he ended up taking over at baseball. We left him with a couple of students and we came up to shift gears to basketball. That day at basketball, it was everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah, was that the day the
speakers?
Yeah, was that day?
The broadcast went down. Everything.
Yes, because
everything.
I was on broadcast that day and I was confused. I was like, wait, did the broadcast freeze?
Yeah,
it happened right after halftime.
Yep. So the speakers were giving us some issues, and so we were trying to make sure. So for the first probably 7 minutes of game action, we didn't have any audio, so we didn't have music, we didn't have PA. We were trying to troubleshoot that. Of course, everything worked perfectly fine in pregame, but as soon as the game started, we had to replace a cord, had to go find it in the closet, move everybody out, replace that cord. I'm hustling up and down the court, and then the broadcast goes out, so we've got to try and reset everything and get everything back up. And of course, everybody's texting me, Danielle, did you know that the broadcast is down? Yes, I do. It's chaos. I understand. We're doing our best. And so it is great that people are paying attention enough to say, hey, the broadcast is down. But also at the same time, sometimes it's like, I'm aware I can't respond to everybody right now because I'm trying to handle the problem. But that day in particular, I mean, we were probably here from 8 a.m. until probably about 10 p.m. because the games for basketball were at 5 and about 7:15 or so. By the time you wrap up basketball, it's about 9 o'clock. You got to go write the stories and make sure that everything's reset for the next day. And then we were coming back and doing it all over again on Saturday. So obviously not every day is like that, but during the really, really stressful times when we've got a lot of events overlapping, it's not uncommon to see a 12 to 14 hour day just because there's no other way to get it all done.
That's actually wild. I wonder how much caffeine you and Joseph be having to intake.
It's not near as much as Davis used to drink. Shout out Davis Barlow. Davis Barlow, I don't know how his heart still works because the man has consumed more caffeine than is legally advised.
I've always seen him with like some type of coffee or energy drink every time I've seen him.
Always.
Yeah, that was actually crazy.
Lives with a Celsius in his hand. Love that kid.
Isn't he at Life University now?
He is.
That's actually, it's not that far from my house back home.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
Davis and Nick Pope are the two in the athletic communications department down there. And both of them actually were interns and students here at Piedmont. They interned during the spring of 2021, which was the COVID spring when we played every single sport in the spring. So we were having soccer and volleyball. We played everything in that spring of 2021 because we had missed the fall of 2020. It was, honestly, I don't even know if I remember much of that spring because we were just living on caffeine and sugar at that point, trying to make it happen. But I love that they interned during that spring and still enjoyed the profession enough that they pursued it as a career. And now they're best friends getting to run their own department together. And I know that they're just like living it up all the time.
No, shout out Davis, man. He was definitely a great guy for me, honestly. My next question, this is the last question on the sports side as well. I know you've been here at Piedmont for 11 years, but what do you eventually want to be your dream career to be? Whether it's here or at Piedmont or outside Piedmont.
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I honestly never thought that I would be here this long. Not that it was like a bad decision on my part. That wasn't necessarily my goal. It ended up becoming a career that I fell in love with, and so it made sense to stay. I have had some other opportunities, but Piedmont has always kind of won out. So that's a good question. I don't exactly know what's next or what the goal is, but I love collegiate athletics. That's really the realm that I would want to stay in, and being able to work with students like yourself, that really is the part that's so much fun for me, just because getting to see you guys learn what it is that you love, kind of fall into your own careers and seeing you thrive and open up. I mean, you as a freshman, like, I don't know that I would have ever thought that you were hosting a podcast like twice a week and like interviewing people like crazy. Like, it's awesome to see people like yourself, like, just find your thing.
I appreciate it. 2 to 3 times a week. It'd be difficult sometimes, I'm not gonna lie.
That's a busy schedule.
Man, what? Do it. I might have to show you after the episode end, but like my schedule this year compared to last semester and last year as a freshman, oh my God, like I'm so busy now and it's crazy. But I'm actually blessed to be able to interview athletes here. Eventually I'm about to start interviewing athletes outside of Piedmont as well.
Awesome.
Time's coming up, but I mean, just people here at Piedmont, athletes and coaches even, and just sports teams in general, just supporting the pod, it's amazing to see. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, but on to the mental side questions now. My first question is, do you feel like mental health is important in the sports world and why?
No doubt. I think it's important regardless of where you're at, what you're involved in. But I think that kind of we've talked about just how chaotic things can be. You just talked about your own schedule being so busy. And these student athletes are always on the go. I mean, trying to balance classes and what you've missed and making up assignments. I mean, for us, it's kind of what I talked about at the beginning, where it's like just figuring out, when am I going to do laundry? Like, it gets to the point where, you know, you're just constantly on go, and sometimes you have to remember to hit pause. That doesn't mean that the rest of the world doesn't quit turning. Like, that stretch of time in February when we had all of those events and we were working so many hours, it's hard because you kind of hit pause on the personal side of life and you come back and everybody else has lived 2 weeks of their life and you're like, oh, I missed everything. Like, I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't know who did what and all this stuff. So it's important to remember that sometimes you do have to hit pause on the personal side of things, because all of my focus has to be in this one area. But it can't be like that 24/7, and it can't be like that for an entire month. So maybe there is that week, 10-day time frame where I know, okay, I got to check out. Like, I'm locked in on Piedmont and that's the only thing that I've got, but it's not healthy for that to be the only thing that you've got. And so you've kind of got to find some balance of that, even if it's just a day where it's like, hey, Coach Peeps, I'm going to take Monday. I'm not going to be in the office. I'm accessible. If you need something, let me know. But being able to balance it and have that flexibility to say, hey, I'm around, but I'm not going to come to the office today because I saw too much of this place last week. Having somebody that's really understanding of that is huge and just a complete difference maker.
No, facts. I kind of be struggling with like time management nowadays. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually happy you said that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna take that advice. But my next question is, can you tell me the mental toll the job you have can have on yourself?
Yeah, I think that it can definitely take its toll. It can definitely kind of impact your personal relationships if you let it. Like I said, the rest of life is going by, but if you're just completely locked in over here, sometimes you miss everything else that's going on. There are a lot of people I know within this field, within athletics as a whole, you miss a lot of weddings, you miss a lot of funerals, you miss a lot of birthdays, just because there are some things that you can't get out of. Like if we're hosting the basketball championships, there's not much that I can do outside of being at Piedmont.
Yeah.
There are obviously some extenuating circumstances. There are things that, like, my dad was sick the spring of 2022, and Piedmont was fortunate enough that, or I was fortunate enough that Piedmont just picked up where I, like, left everything, went home, had to deal with that. And so there are some areas where you will have things that override that. But there are a lot of things that you miss because you're involved in athletics. And I think it's important to kind of weigh those out and make sure that you don't miss everything. There are going to be things that are inevitably not able to make them work, but when you can and when you can plan well enough, and now that I've been here for 11 years, like Joseph and I are able to kind of talk and go, okay, if we can plan this, I really would like to be able to not be here this day. And usually we can get enough students involved to be able to make it work. It may not be the A+ effort that we would normally give, but there's got to be some give and take there. You've got to still have a life outside of this. As much as you love this and as much as you're passionate about this, you still have to find a way to have a life outside of your job.
All right. My next question is, and I actually have been wanting to ask you this question since I've actually probably really started getting in the game operations crew. Do you ever feel like there's pressure knowing the job you have and how important you are to Piedmont Athletics?
That's a fantastic question, because that does weigh on my mind sometimes in the trying to play the balance of not having a hero complex. The show will go on, but kind of feeling that pressure that if Joseph or I weren't here, what would happen? Who's going to pick up the ball? And so it's a fine line for me, because I know I'm not the end all be all, but I do know that I have 11 years of institutional knowledge and knowledge of how we operate within athletic communications that would be lost if I wasn't here. And so being able to try and set Joseph up so that if I'm not around, Joseph knows everything that there is to know, and just being a phone call away. Sometimes that is a lot of pressure, but I think it is also important to note that no one person is bigger than the organization. It's kind of like what coaches say, you're playing for the name on the front, not the name on the back. So for me, that's always a fine line of it. I don't want a hero complex of thinking like, oh, I can always save the day. But knowing that this role is important and we want to make sure that we serve our student athletes the best that we can.
No, that's real for sure. I just always wanted to ask you that question. I don't know why.
Yeah,
The other one actually
that's a good one.
How has being an assistant athletic director of communications helped shape or grow you as a person?
Like I said before, I never wanted to take Timmy's position. I was very content being the one who took the advice of a leader. I had never really envisioned myself as the one leading. And so that really forced me to grow those skills, to become a better leader, to learn how to delegate. And I think that I would hope that Joseph would agree with this, and even Davis, that my leadership style is not my way or the highway. I like to hear others' ideas and opinions. I like to lead horizontally, not vertically. It is not just like I'm at the top and everybody else listen to what I have to say. I want to know what you guys have to say, even our students, because you guys have great ideas. You guys see the things that are trending that other institutions are doing. And in internship, that's something that I tried to emphasize to you guys is I want to hear what you guys want to be involved in. And you've been great about bringing those opportunities forward, like the 94 feet and all of that. So I like to think that leadership really was the biggest takeaway for me of being kind of foisted into this position. Whether or not I felt like I was prepared for it, I was glad that others saw that skill set that was there to be developed within me and to be able to rise to the occasion.
That's amazing for sure. On to burning questions though. My first question for you is, in your 11 years of being here at Piedmont, what has been the most wild or funny thing or situation you've seen or you came across?
Oh gosh. So we had a situation in, I want to say it was 2022, might have been 21. We had a women's lacrosse game where it was incredibly windy. Windy enough that it was blowing over the lacrosse goals. Lacrosse goals are pretty sturdy.
Yeah, those are not.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was incredibly windy, probably like 30, 40 mile an hour gusts. So we operate from the tent.
Right.
The tent is also not all that sturdy.
No.
I had a Mary Poppins moment where I grabbed onto the tent trying to keep it down, and I'm off the ground. I'm literally Mary Poppinsing away. I'm holding on to the tent, and my feet are off the ground because it is blowing away. I was not sturdy enough to hold it down. We ended up having to take the tent top off because it was basically just creating a sail, and like the whole thing was about to just like up and go away.
Right.
So I think for me, that moment was funny because like sweet little girls grabbing hold of the tent trying to hold it down, whereas like maybe if we had somebody like Ramsey, it would have been a little bit more substantial. We could have done something with it, but so we've had some really interesting experiences out at lacrosse with the wind. We had a transformer blow one time, and so like the power isn't working on one side of the field, so we had to move the entire operation to the other side, and we're literally doing the game from the bleachers. It's just it has been an interesting experience out at that field for lacrosse, but that probably is one of the funnier ones for me.
Yeah, I definitely heard of some stories for sure. I'm not even gonna speak of them. I'm not gonna lie. It was one of them at a basketball game. It was crazy. But my next question for you is favorite music artist currently or all time for you?
Okay, within the last like couple years, Lizzo's been high on my list.
Lizzo, okay.
But I also am a big fan of like the 70s, 80s genre. And so back in college, huge Bob Seger fan. I don't even know why. It was, luck of the draw. But 70s, 80s is kind of like, I like going back to that. But then like I had the opportunity to go to the Usher concert in October in Atlanta, which was awesome. So like, obviously I had to listen to Usher for like the month before that because you have to be prepared. Yeah. But yeah, I can really like run the gamut because like, in athletics, you're listening to a ton of music and like pregame and stuff. And so like each team has lots of different vibes. Yeah. Because like lacrosse has got like the old rock stuff. Like women's lacrosse kind of has like the mix, and baseball has a lot of country. So it's interesting to kind of see, you kind of get the different vibes of like which season we're in or like which facility we're in based on like the playlist alone. You could probably do that. Like you could probably put a playlist on and say like which team's playlist is this.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, do you actually like listen to a lot of country or?
I grew up listening to a lot of country. I'm a super nerd and I listen to a lot of books. So I'm listening to audiobooks like all the time. So I don't listen to music as much as I used to. Because I guess I get my music fill while I'm on campus and doing events and stuff because I'm a nerd and listen to books all the time.
I actually want to ask you that. I've always seen you like post books or whatever, like on your stories or whatever. How do you read all those books in that short amount of time?
So that is my escape. That is the thing that I do in my personal time is read books, listen to books. Like I have a book on my Kindle app on my phone like all the time. So yesterday we got set up at baseball a little early, so I got my Kindle app out and was reading on my phone. Today I brought my book with me because I realized that I finished that book on my Kindle, so I needed to bring a book and have that ready for baseball today. So really it's just fitting that into pockets of time. I don't watch a ton of TV. That is the thing that I enjoy doing, and so like that's my hobby and that's how I fill my time.
That's what's what's up for sure. I've always wanted to know because I be seeing you post like one book
All the time.
on a Monday, and then you be like 3 books in by Sunday. I be like, wait, how does she do this?
That's because I'm a nerd.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where are you traveling to?
Okay, this might be a weird answer. I've always wanted to go to Colorado. I've never been to Colorado. I don't know why. I don't know why I want to go to Colorado. I think it's because I like snow.
Right.
And I guess Montana would also kind of be in that realm of like, I've never been somewhere where you would go like skiing or like snowboarding or whatever. So like either like somewhere with like mountains and like skiing thing. Like I don't think I'd be any good at skiing, but the like vibes are there. Cause like, see, if I like reading a book, put me in front of a fireplace with the snow around, it's gonna look really good. I might not go out in the snow, but it seems like it would be good for vibes.
So the scenery.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. So you mean somewhere like Aspen, Colorado? Because I know there's a lot of mountains and snow up there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Sign me up.
That's the first one. I'm not gonna lie. Usually people be thinking like outside the country.
I know that. Yeah, that's my answer. I'm pretty basic.
If you're going to a gas station for snacks, what 3 items you walking out with?
Okay, this is a frequent thing for us because we got the Exxon right down there. We got a long game day, and we'll go, okay, we got to make an Exxon run. Dr. Pepper, some kind of sour gummy,
Okay.
and some chips.
Chips.
Probably like salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar?
Yeah, because then you got the salt, and then you got the tangy, and then you also got the sweet with the...
It hurts my tongue when I do that. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, you probably gonna burn all your taste buds off.
Yeah.
But sour gummies are the thing that keep us running.
Yeah.
Like I will make a Dollar Tree run because we gotta be financially responsible. We gotta get as many for the buck as we can. So I'll go and get we got like Twin Snakes, we got Sour Patch, we got the watermelon, you got the lemonade mix. I'm telling you, we are skilled in the brands of Sour Patch Kids within athletic communications.
Lemonade mix. I just get Airhead bites.
Ooh, okay, that's quality.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, bro, that's so amazing. It'd be sour, and it'd be sweet at the same time.
All right, we're gonna have to add that in the mix.
Like I got to for sure. I'll put y'all on. If you're wait, hold on. You number 3? Oh yeah, you said chill. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
If you're stranded on an island with 3 things, you making sure you got with you.
Okay. Because we talked about this Kindle. I got to make sure that my Kindle is stocked at all times with enough books. Because, see, if you just bring one book, like, I'm going to read it too fast. So I got to bring my Kindle. I don't know how we're going to charge it. We got to find a solar charger or something. But I'm going to bring my Kindle. We're going to ignore the fact that we maybe can't charge it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
What else are we going to bring?
This is very
I'm such a nerd. I just want a book.
People really struggle with this answer.
Yeah. Sunscreen seems like a solid option.
Okay.
It only lasts you so long, but like, at least you make it for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Another,
You got one more.
I feel like tennis shoes are a solid choice that maybe not a lot of people think. Hang on. That maybe not a lot of people would think about because you gotta be thinking ahead. That what if you gotta get somewhere quick? Mm-hmm. What if this island has creatures that you're not prepared to interact with? You got to be able to move fast. You probably want some tennis shoes. I stand by my answer.
Okay.
Look, it was out of left field, but it's the best I got for you.
No, that's what's. Hey, look, your answer.
I was able to justify it.
No, that's not a bad answer for sure. I mean, like I said, your answer's your answer. Me personally, I'm probably not gonna make it. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried to come across this question a couple of times, and I just haven't really had a great, solid answer.
Yeah.
I'll probably say the person with the best answer was probably my first episode, which was Riley.
Okay.
She's definitely a survivor. She said a knife,
Oh.
a pot, and like something to start the fire with.
Yeah, those are quality. I didn't do much to stay alive. I just was gonna be comfortable until I didn't make it anymore.
Yeah, I just said I'm probably gonna bring God with me. Hopefully he saved me
well.
eventually.
That's a good one.
But this is my last question for you on the pod, and I appreciate you for coming on, of course. If you could look back and give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Say yes to opportunities. Mm-hmm. You never know where those could take you. Something as simple as saying yes to something that you feel underprepared for could lead to something that opens doors you never imagined. Like for you, for instance, you said yes to going on that broadcast when maybe you felt like you were unprepared, and look where it's gotten you. I would say that to me is one of the biggest things that you can do, is to just say yes, whether you feel prepared or not. It may not be something that leads to anything. It may not be something that you enjoy doing, but you're never going to know unless you try it. And so I think that that is the key to kind of finding your passion and finding where you want to go and what your journey will look like.
Wow. Man,
Deep.
That was deep for sure. That's definitely top 5 answers to that question for sure on the pod. But lastly, before I end the pod, I did sell this past summer. I actually got it again, so God is good. Shout out and a good dyer. But last year, before we used to leave the cabins or whatever, I used to always tell the Voyagers let's be great today as some type of motivation or pick me up. So if you could say let's be great today with me on 3, looking at the camera, that would be great. Let me get ready. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's be great today. Yes, sir. Thank you, boss. It's always a pleasure. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Well, Lifetime family, that is the end of the Danielle Percival episode, but y'all stay tuned next week because I have Piedmont men's head coach Greg Neely and Piedmont men's lacrosse players Eric Philwell and Will Isaac coming on the pod. So, y'all stay tuned next week, man. It's never over till it's over. And like I always say, let's be great today. And y'all say, what's out there?